Welcome everybody. The last couple of supervisors here, we can get started. Welcome to the 2023 SCA New York State Parks Corps recognition ceremony. Can I get a round of applause from everyone? We are so glad you could make it. For those of you joining us on Zoom, thank you for attending. And get comfortable and we can commence.
Thank you. It is a privilege to have a representative today with us from the Ganado State Historic Site with us today. It will be for letting us know a little bit about the history and from Seneca and the Arts and Culture Center and the Haudenosaunee culture as well. Please welcome Haley.
All right. Oh, I rarely use microphones. So Nyawis Luego, everybody. If you don't know what that means, it's basically a Seneca welcoming. But it goes beyond just greeting as like we say hello. It really means I'm thankful that you guys made it here on your journeys here. You know, you made it safe. And not only just that, but also most people around the world as well. I greet to everybody, not just you folks in this room. So I really wish that that offers good well-being to yourself as well. So for an introduction to this place, if you don't know where you're at, we're at Ganundagan State Historic Site. It is a really ancestral grounds, kind of. There used to be a Seneca village that was settled on this hilltop here. It was home to about what we believe to be 4,500 people living on this hilltop in bark longhouses such as the one at the top of the hill here. So once you guys, are finished up here, definitely make sure to go check that out if you'd like to. I believe there is some open time to do that as well. So as a Seneca man, I'm Seneca Heron Clan. I would like to welcome you to our traditional home territory. It is well known for most people that all of Western New York was just about Seneca territory as well. Basically laying claim for all of Haudenosaunee people further westward and further southward as well. We had lands as far as Illinois as we know it today, and we also had lands as far south as West Virginia as we know it today. Spanning for the rest of the Haudenosaunee people, which would include the Cayuga, the Onondaga, Oneida, and the Mohawk. And later in 1720, the Tuscarora requested a position within our confederacy as well. So now we gladly enter them into the mix where they have their territory near the Niagara Falls. Right, so that's basically all I've got to say for you folks. Just, a warm welcome to our homelands and our site here. All right.
Thank you very much. All right, I would now like to introduce Libby as Elizabeth Young, our program manager. Everyone can give her a round of applause. I need to move the okay. I'm gonna come stand here with you. All right. Thank you for the introduction and welcome everyone to the 2023 New York State Parks Corps recognition ceremony. It's so good to have everyone in the room together. We have some special guests today. And I just hope that you all really enjoy yourselves here and take some time to learn about what we've done this year, but also about what else is going on across the state of New York, and take some time to socialize with each other and celebrate another successful year. So Zach will be talking a little bit about the accomplishments of the year. So I just wanted to really just welcome you to an SCA event. As you all know, we are a national organization, so we operate across the country. doing all sorts of conservation work with all sorts of different agencies and organizations. And here in New York State, we have 4 different programs. So we have this program, the Parks Corps, Hudson Valley Corps, Adirondack Corps, and the Natural Resource Stewards Program. So in a full year, we have over 100 members serving in New York State, and Parks Corps makes up a really good chunk of that. And so we're really proud of what we do and creating the next generation of conservation leaders here in the state of New York. And none of that would be possible without our lovely, wonderful, dedicated supervisors who are all here today. So thank you all so much for everything that you do. Maybe let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for coming back every year and for just making sure our members have a good experience and helping us to develop the program. I'd also like to shout out Marlena Vera-Schochner, who's our regional program coordinator. She's here. I won't ask you to stand. Yeah. Mara was the first program coordinator for this program in 2017. So the first year. And she really was instrumental in getting this off the ground and running. So many good memories. Making sure our members have a good experience, have all the trainings they need, successful service events. So wouldn't be possible without that foundation. I'm glad you're here. And then, of course, a huge thank you to Zach Russell, who came in after Mara went on to bigger and better things. Zach has been a huge asset to the program and has just continued to take it a step further every year. So it's still, to me, it feels still like a relatively new thing that we do here in New York, but really it's been around for a while and it's just transformed so much. So thanks to both of you and Zach for putting together this lovely ceremony and making sure our members not only have everything they need, but everything they could want to, like all the fun driving you know, celebrations and professional development skills and everything. So really, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's been like a group effort to get this program to where it is today. And we really thank you all so much. Yeah, so with that, I'm going to pass it off to Zach to talk about our accomplishments from this year. And I should wait till the end to say this, but I'm afraid I'm going to forget. So I'm just going to say now that the Ganondageon State Historic Site has an awesome museum in the back, and they also have a longhouse out back. So please make sure you have time after lunch to go check it out. And if you do check it out, we just want to get a number of how many people are going to be back there so that we can, you know, pay them for the admission. So just please make sure you put a tally on this sheet if you're going to go back into the museum. But we encourage you all to do so and enjoy this site to the fullest. This space is beautiful, but the museum is a lot more interesting. Yeah, so I'll have this sheet at my table here by the laptop. So after the ceremony, please come put your tally. Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Libby. I really appreciate it. I do have a little bit of a speech prepared, so I'm going to dock this and turn down the lights a little bit. I can figure out how to do it. Can you all see the screen?
Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Friends, supervisors, New York State Parks Corps members. My name is Zachary Russell, and I'm the program coordinator for the New York State Parks Corps. This is my 3rd season as the coordinator, and it's my absolute privilege to be here today with you all. I want to start by highlighting our supervisors, both those here, still on their way, and those who couldn't be here today. I couldn't ask for a better set of advisors for the Parks Corps members. The program wouldn't be what it is without each and every one of you, and I can't see what we come up with next. Next, I want to highlight the Corps members. You all made the decision to head here to upstate New York to work on one shared goal to affect change in our park system. Over the past 10 months, you have all done so much for the state, and we are grateful for your service, your passion, and your dedication. Your impact will live on for generations to come. This season, we were lucky enough to place 18 members in 11 positions across upstate New York. As one of the 3 programs in SCA, now 4, excuse me, the Parks Corps covers the largest area by far, with members currently serving in the Niagara region, the Finger Lakes region, the Central region, the Allegheny region, and the Thousand Islands region. And it may take a minute to load, but we have been able to offer a range of wonderful trainings this season, including game of logging, certified interpretive guide. Thank you, Katie Mulverhill. Wilderness first aid, leave no trace, ACA canoeing course, mental health first aid, professional development days, Thousand Island service events, summer regional meetups, conservation work skills training. Again, thank you, Zach. Thank you, Maria, for coming out and doing that for us. And this program is nothing but the service that you members provide. And as you know, I've been keeping track of a few key numerics over the last 9 months. So far this season, and this is only those that are represented here today, and we still have a couple weeks to go in the season. But you all have educated over 22,400 individual participants. Can we get a round of applause? Kind of like mentally figure out how much that is. That is about 119 fully loaded Boeing 737 planes. It is a ton of people. Congratulations, you all. And at this point, you all have improved 153 miles of trails and have improved 626 acres of land. Round of applause. That is the distance from Utica to Buffalo. That is a long way. I know that's not all new trail system, but that is the amount of trail that is in a better condition because of those of you, from those sitting in this room today. And that is 474 football fields worth of improved acreage. That's incredibly impactful. And again, thank you all for your service. And I did just want to throw this up here because it kind of gets lost in the dust some seasons, but I'm sure you all are aware of this, but we have an impact in an incredible amount of parks across upstate New York. And this is not a comprehensive list by any means, but these are all the parks that I've seen you all perform service in through your time logs over the past 9 months. It is a ton. It's the majority of parks in upstate New York, to be completely honest. So again, congratulations. Round of applause to you all. Wonderful job this week. And finally, I present to you a short video highlighting the members, the highlights, the season's trainings, and the impact of this season. So enjoy, y'all, please. I'm going to dim the lights though, so that we can all see this. Let's turn the perimeter lights on so they shouldn't be too bad. There you go. Again, thank you all for listening to me talk. I truly appreciate it. Thank you to the members. Thank you to the supervisors. And now I'm going to invite our two MCs back on stage to begin our member presentations.
Welcome again. So the first that's going to present today is going to be the Thousand Islands environmental educator. Give it a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Do you think it's best if we turn the house like totally up? Or? Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Seth.
Hello, everybody. My name is Seth Blair. I work at the Mount Anthony Common Nature Center, representing the Student Conservation Association. My supervisor is Gabriella. She's been super awesome this year. So we've done a lot of really cool stuff up there. Specifically, my favorite things that I did that I felt had the most impact were the fishing events that we had. We had 2 different free fishing clinics and a fishing derby. They went really, really well. We had a great turnout for all of them. I got to educate a lot of kids on the art of casting a pole and how to successfully hook a worm, which was a learning experience for me as well. I also learned a lot this year. Specifically, we did a lot of cool stuff with decoys. I took some of the Nature Center decoys down to the Union Hotel at the Sagas Harbor Battlefield Historic Site, which was loads of fun. I got to educate people about the really amazing decoy artists of the Thousand Islands region. So we had a really great turnout. I had some decoys that were over 100 years old that were actually used for hunting. And I had some more artistic decoys, specifically one that was done by Conklin, one that we represent as well from the Nature Center, Don Morley's loon, which was beautiful life-size loon. You might have seen it if you've been to the Nature Center. We proudly displayed in a glass box. I learned a whole lot about all these different artists. One fun fact I learned as well was one of the artists who did the loon, he actually was refurbishing like a classic Thunderbird, I believe it was. That was another passion he had. We did some really cool stuff with those decoys. I'm actually currently working on a display for the Nature Center with those decoys that I use. We're going to be having a little glass setup, so please come and check it out. We did a lot of well, I say we, but it was me and some of the Nature Center staff. We did a lot of really great educational work with specifically a program I created for wilderness safety, so camping safety. Those were my 2 babies, I call it. I taught about 15 young kids how to set up a more difficult tent. If you've ever used one-man tents, they have a really weird system with like a 1 bar here, 1 bar there, and an extension. So that was more of the like we'll say experienced campers kind of tent setup. So these young kids were really great at doing that. We got to teach them how to do that. Throw a rope over a log in the tree as well to hang your food from bears. That was a lot of fun. They really enjoyed that activity, and it was just a super great experience for them and the parents as well. I did a whole lot of potting shed hours this year, which is I teach people how to plant seeds and about marigolds and milkweeds and the benefit of milkweed to butterflies. And something interesting that I noticed this year as well about the milkweed was they had all these orange aphids on them, which I hadn't seen in past years, which I thought was really neat. So I've been kind of educating people about that in the off season while people are coming up and seeing those, which has been a really, really cool experience. Something that I am very proud of, particularly as I mentioned in the beginning, was the fishing clinics, but specifically the fishing derby was Spider Ryback's Memorial Derby. He passed away, I believe, last year. And this was a derby that he would always host. So I felt really honored that I was able to host it and educate kids and really more the competitive education at that point. I was running around measuring kids' fish catches, marking them down, and to see these kids who got first and second place, like their faces light up, was super rewarding, and it was such an amazing experience doing that. I did do some more birds of prey stuff. We had a Adirondack raptors come down twice this year, once in July and once in August, and that was educational for me because I have only seen raptors in person live once, and it was really cool to help him out, set this event up, and get the ball rolling there. And we just found out so much great stuff about kestrel and how they didn't need to be quiet flyers; they just zoom in because they're so quick. And then how owls are almost like silent as they fly. And just the wildlife as well up in the Thousand Islands region. I was driving to work actually, leaving the Sacks Harbor area, and there was a snowy owl in my road, and I was so surprised to see them. And I knew they'd get down here sometimes, but I wasn't expecting to see one this year. It was really exciting. The osprey up there has been amazing. We did a bird watching program, which was one of the photos you saw up there, where I'm very awkwardly standing this far away from the people, which was funny. But they had a great time, and we saw what we thought was a golden eagle, but we're pretty sure it was just a juvenile bald eagle. But it was still a really rewarding time at the nature center, and it was such an amazing year for me to be up there. And I really want to thank everyone who was supportive of me, Zach and Gabby and the whole nature center staff and the state park staff that was up there in Wellesley. And just thank you so much. And thank you all for coming today and hearing my speech. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Seth. Now we will open the stage to the Songbird at Stewart.
I can breathe again. Hi, I'm Paige Ryder. I am the plant technician assistant for the plant materials program at Sonnenberg Gardens. So my main job is to plant and propagate local plants that we've collected from state parks and nature reserves. And once we plant them and grow them, then we send them out and then plant them at state parks and nature reserves to help. The majority of my work, as you saw by my pictures, was a lot of the typical greenhouse work. So like pruning, watering the courtyards when it gets hot in July, and weeding, stuff like that. And a big part of the job is what's known as uppotting. So uppotting is when a plant kind of just outgrows its pot and we need to put it into a bigger pot so that it has more room to grow and thrive. And so we uppot them over time, over the years, as they get bigger and bigger and healthier and stronger. And once we really know that they can handle themselves outside in the crazy New York weather, then we do what's called bare rooting. So some of you know what bare rooting is, but bare rooting is when you strip all of the dirt off of the plant, hence the name bare rooting. And then you dunk it in some water, really make sure that all the dirt is stripped off. And then we put them in plastic bags with wet paper towel on them so that they don't shrivel up during their voyage, and then send them off to be planted. Either we help with planting or we just send them off to have the nature reserve or state parks crew plant it themselves. And so the reason why we do this bare rooting process is for a multitude of reasons. One of them being transportation purposes, because it's a lot easier to transport a couple bags filled with 200 plus sedges. It's easier to transport those instead of all of the sedges in their individual pots somehow crammed into the back of a truck. And another reason, the biggest reason, is to help combat invasive species. More specifically, the Asian jumping worm, because it has increasingly been a problem in the Sonnenberg Garden soil. We see them all the time while we're up potting, bare rooting. And so bare rooting and getting all the dirt off of the roots will completely ensure that all of the creepy crawlies are off of there, and nothing will get into the soil when we go to plant them. So I have to say I love all of my plants, like they're my children. I always feel like a proud mom whenever I go to plant them at their new homes. It's so fun to see the little plants that I end up planting, and then to see like close nearby a fully grown version of that plant. It just really puts into perspective that I'm making a difference. These plants are going to be happy here, and that I actually feel like I am making a difference in the world, and I'm changing things for the better. One of the plants that I have to say is my favorite, because all parents have favorites, even if they don't tell you so, is the hart's tongue fern. The hart's tongue fern is part of a state endangered plant, and so we've been growing them in our greenhouses with the help of Mike Service and the fern crew at Clark Nature Reserve. And we've been growing them and putting them in raised beds and stuff like that, and then sending them out all over the state a couple times in different areas of the country. And I always just feel amazed every time I go to Clark Nature Reserve, because that's where a huge hillside just covered in hart's tongue ferns is located. And it's just so cool to see this state endangered fern just thriving in its natural environment. And I just think, wow, I'm growing that in the greenhouse. I know that. But yeah, it's been an amazing experience working here. I definitely feel like I've done so many things that I never thought I would do. Like, I cut down a tree in Game of Logging. I never thought I would cut down a tree ever in my life. And I learned how to paddle a canoe, kind of wonkily, but I know how to paddle a canoe, kind of. And I just made all these experiences with all these amazing people that I feel like I will take with me for the rest of my life. And I want to thank the SCA and everyone here for this amazing experience.
Thank you, Paige. Now we'll open the stage for the Thousand Island Trail Conservation Source.
Yeah. We didn't realize it. We have to on, but things like yours send it like all right. Right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so with the length of our season, we thought we'd break it up between the three of us and try to cover some of our favorite projects from some of the different seasons throughout the year. So I'm going to start with winter, which is right when we got here. So we're all trying to get to know each other. And this is our team. And if you notice here on the end, we have a mannequin that somebody left in our sourced housing, and we can't seem to get rid of it. Like, you can't sell them on Facebook Marketplace for nothing. So if you want a mannequin, you can find us in that back table in the corner, and we'll be there. Yeah, so throughout the winter, I'm going to talk about two of my favorite projects that we worked on. And one of them was we got to work on a little bit of the historic preservation side of the state parks. And we were really doing a lot of work in the Union Hotel, which is a historic hotel in Sackett's Harbor. And we spent a lot of time in their basement chiseling out, it was like some horsehair, a little bit of mortar, and we were replacing it. And that took up a lot of our winter, along with a lot of woodshop work that we also got to work on. So winter was a lot about trying to escape the wind and the snow and the wildlife. But then the second project that we really got to work on in the winter was working on invasive species removal on Wellesley Island. So we did a lot of cutting of Phragmites and a preparation for a planting that we would do later in the season. So now I'm going to pass it off and we can move out of the winter and get talking about the spring potentially.
I'm Anna Frisbee. Yeah, so in the spring it was kind of easier to get outside, it was less cold. So one of the main projects we worked on was building 3 different kiosks at Key Wading State Park. They're like very big and kind of time intensive projects. So first we poured 8-foot concrete footers and then we put up the main like beams using the tractor, and then we had to learn a lot of new skills such as like roofing, for example, which is something I never expected to learn. So that was really interesting. And then another one of our projects this spring, we did a lot of invasive species pulling. We took out some swallowwort at Westgate Beach and a few other places. And we also did some black chestnut pools in the St. Lawrence River and like the Black River. So that was really cool also. And now I'll pass it on to Nina to talk about the summer.
And the stand or? Okay.
Okay, so summer is when the Thousand Islands really comes alive. As Jack mentioned, in the winter, it was a little cool. It's quite snowy. It's very cold, very cold. I'm from Connecticut, but this is cold. So yeah, the best bits in the summer are definitely all the boating. We had quite a few island hitches, so that was like we had our own private island. A lot of the times they weren't super frequented by people, so it was like just us. We had a whole island all to ourselves. We were still working, but you get that island feel, you know. And yeah, so the boating was really great. And another thing that Jack had mentioned was the Phragmites. So the plant materials program, which Paige is a part of, they came back around like late summer, and in those places where we had been cutting down the Phragmites, they came back and brought all those native plants and we planted them in the places where the Phragmites were. It took me, Jack, and Anna like a week to cut down all those Phragmites, but with all of the volunteers that came to help plant the native species, it took like less than 2 days. So it felt really rewarding. It was like a real full circle moment for us, because we were like in the trenches cutting those down, and then to see it kind of thrive and get the acreage just shrunk from where we had cut to where they were growing just in the summer. So it felt really rewarding. That yeah, we had some good moments. Tyler there. And yeah, we were at the turns. We helped pull out all the weeds and stuff and put their new little houses out. So it was kind of cool. We were on like a big, I don't know if you call it a buoy, but like, yeah. So it was cool. And we saw the ship go by and it was like enormous. But yeah, it's been a great time in the Thousand Islands. We've definitely had a lot of laughs. Thank you to Maria for being a great supervisor, and Andrew for coming in the last second there. We've had about, I think he's our 4th, like medium supervisor. So that was fun. Yeah, so thanks everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna and Jack. Now we will work on the horses, no? Yes.
Hi, my name is Kelly Punch, and I am the Forces Program Steward in the Central Region. So I work under Amy Cookham and Tom Hughes, who created the Forces Program. And just for a little background, the Forces Program, Friends of Recreation, Conservation, and Environmental Stewardship, is a program geared toward getting college kids involved in the field in environmental work, careers, internships, and volunteer opportunities to give them the experience they need to further their careers and get that life building experience that'll kind of set them up for the rest of their life. And it's honestly, it's a really good experience to get, even if that's not quite what their path is. This is my third time doing AmeriCorps, so I'm really grateful to be here doing this particular position second time. So the way that I like to see my position, it's kind of unique in that I can do a few different things with it. But I think the main connection with this position is connections. So I'm going to break it down through all the things that I've done this year, and I guess as an extension last year, and kind of what each part of it means to me. So I'll start, I guess, more with some of the physical work that I do. I have the opportunity in the Central Region to help the environmental field team that are based at Lorenzo State Historic Site, a gorgeous site if you've never been there. So I get to have opportunities to help with surveying if I so choose, or I'm able to help at I Love My Park Day and do invasive species polls. And one of the connections that was really unique to this year, which was kind of funny, one of the volunteers on my team that we were at Green Lakes pulling garlic mustard, she had actually done the SCA program that I had done my first time around, which I thought was very funny. And sometimes it really is just those little connections that make those types of things more important and valuable. You see those kinds of people still in the field and doing that kind of work, and you can see yourself still doing that and still volunteering. And it made it really special, especially working with the other people in the group and being able to kind of tell them all the stories and tell them about all the work that we've done while still doing the important work at that park and having that kind of carry on. I would say the second part of this position that is really valuable is a lot of the outreach work. So a lot of what I do, helping out with Carlin Wakefield, doing social media management, posting job postings, and doing general informational things about the Forces program, getting the word out, and just being able to educate from a distance and keep all of our collegiate members in the loop and alums. One of the biggest projects that I kind of finished at the tail end of last year and coming into this year was the Forces Roots Alumni Network on LinkedIn. So the point of the Roots Alumni Network is to keep all of our alums in the loop about all of our projects, but also for them to contribute what they've done and their unique job opportunities that they can show both past, present, and future Forces members. Just other opportunities, whether it's in New York State or in the country or worldwide. It's really good for us to be able to gauge where all of our people have been and where they're going and kind of help each other out. And I think it just really shows the impact of the Forces program as a whole, being able to say, you know, I remember you were in the program in 2015 and now you're working with the National Park System or doing this great thing with the DEC, or you're doing education, you know, halfway across the world, but you learned all of these really important skills in the Forces program. And we can't thank you enough for that, you know? It's a really great feeling to be able to see these people still connecting. And the idea with the Roots Network in particular is that we're all rooted, you know, no matter how far we go out, we're all rooted still together to the same tree. We all still share all those same experiences, but with different outcomes and all of our different influences on them. So I think that that's really important and really special. And then the last part of this job, being the program specialist, is I'm able to help out the education team at Great Lakes. So with Katie Mulverhill and Kara Gannon in particular. I've been able to help out with some field trips and some educational opportunities and being able to host the education center at Green Lakes, which honestly is always a really great opportunity to be able to help out people who've never been there before, kind of guide them around. I have a kind of experience working with kids, so working with kids is always kind of a good break in the program, trying to introduce them to different, different environmental topics that maybe break the mundane of the school day, and being able to make that impact, that really special connection with them that maybe makes them more interested, and being able to provide a different perspective on environmental topics and biology and life sciences in general. It's honestly really great because some of these kids don't really get the same experience in school or outside of their school lives. So being able to help them with that and give them, that perk of the day is like really special to me. And one of my other favorite events that there were a few pictures of me in there, was doing the New York State Fair. And that's one of my favorite things to do in this program, because I get to speak to all these different people from not only just all over the state, but all over the country, and even sometimes from out of the country, who come to New York to learn about New York and enjoy the fair and enjoy, all the classic fair things about it. But what we do at the fair with Forces specifically, and tabling with SCA as well, we build bluebird nesting boxes. The eastern bluebird is the New York State bird. And the numbers for the eastern bluebird were very low for quite a while. They are threatened by non-native birds who kind of kick them out of their nests. But by posting up these bird boxes in our parks and on some private lands actually that are suitable, we're able to bring those numbers up. And a lot of people find a lot of value in that. We have a lot of returning people who make boxes continuously every year. They'll bring kits home for their kids. They'll build them there with them. And that actually was really cute. This year there was a girl who came and she said she recognized me from last year, which I thought was very sweet. Because I remembered her, but I didn't think that she remembered me, because it's one in a million different faces at the fair. But again, it's just one of those connections that you can leave that lasting impact, even if you just build one box of them, it's still very special. And then being able to impart some of my own personal work into this job, I'm able to create graphics and draw things, create educational materials for my partners. I'm just very grateful to have worked with the people that I have worked with. I'm very grateful to Tom, Amy, Katie, and everyone in the central region, the EFT. It's just been a really great experience. And this year and last year, I really could not have asked for better people to work with. So thank you. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Kelly. Now we welcome Forces, the Piping Blower Steward.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I was the piping blower steward for the 2023 season, and I figured I would highlight my journey with the birds over the year, just the 1 year. So this was, I think, the first time we actually went out to the beach. Yeah, that was. So I went out there with Kennedy and Tom, my two supervisors, and we were just kind of surveying the beach to see how it would look for the season and where the birds might want to nest. And about, I think, a month, maybe two after that, end of April, they showed up. So on the picture on the right is actually Hawkeye, which was a returning chick from last year. So this was his first year as an adult male. And you can see he was very round when he first came back. Yeah, that picture, actually, the entire day, he just stood there. We did a survey on him for 10 minutes. He did not move. That's all he did. And on the Did I say the right for Hawkeye? Because I meant the left. Thinking right that way. On the right is Aragorn, and that's the nicest picture I took of the piping plovers this year. The one on the left is usually how they came out. Taking a picture through the scope usually isn't that great. But Aragorn, very, very male, if I do say so myself. And then we had to find out where they were nesting, which took a while because they did not want to settle down for a while. Ajax and Arwen were even thinking about nesting on private property, which would have been a major headache for us. Thankfully, they didn't do that. They decided to nest on our state park property, which we had a lot more control over. So, yeah, these should both be of Ajax trying to court Arwen. It seemed like he was having a bit of a rough time courting her this year, even though this was not their first year together. And then we had to cage their nest, basically. So this would help keep them safe from predators like foxes, raccoons, mink, any kind of hawks flying over. That was a fun and stressful time. You should be able to see Ajax in the middle there. He might be hard to see. He's a very small bird. And then we had babies. Babies were very cute. They get up like pretty much immediately, and then they're running around everywhere. Then it became very hectic trying to find all of them, ID them, see which chick is which. Is this gonna work?
Oh, I didn't know it was video. I'm sorry.
Please.
Like a 50% chance it'll crash that.
Well, doesn't seem like it's gonna play, but this is just that's fine. This is just a short video of the chicks when they were reaching fledgling status, and they were just going on short little flights across the beach for maybe like 20 feet. But it was a very exciting day seeing them do that. I think that was the first day that they started practicing their flying when I was out there. Oh, yeah, another video that's probably not gonna play, but we also had a captive bird release. So over in Detroit, they have a captive breeding program for any sort of failed nests. They take the eggs, bring them back to Detroit, get them to fledgling status, and then they release them. And this was the first year that they were releasing captive birds at New York. So they released 8 birds, and we had 1 successful nest this year, which we had 3 chicks hatch from. So we had 11 birds in total at one time, which was a lot of beach to cover because they started going everywhere. Oh. There we go. And I obviously don't have a picture of them leaving the beach because they were just gone. So I just took a picture of our 3 chicks from our successful nest all together. We named them Pumpernickel, Poppy Seed, and Rye, if anyone's interested. I'm really hoping Pumpernickel comes back next year. It's my favorite. And I thought I would just highlight some of the other things that I did this year. So on the left there is pale swallowwort removal over in El Dorado. I believe this picture was taken in. And there was quite a lot of it. You might be able to tell, but that one that I'm holding was very long. The roots were way back in like the bushes, so that was a pain to get out. I was also tabling for the SCA and state parks at the state fair. So I think I was there almost every day of the state fair. And on the right is one of the outing events with the plant materials program over at Selkirk, where we were planting live stakes into the ground to help stabilize the bank. And we also did another one that I don't have a picture of, but we were planting little baby plants to also help stabilize the bank. And this was our boat and our fish. I thought this might be a fun little note to end on. We got back from the beach one day and I looked over in our other boat and there was just a fish in it. So that was pretty much my season, very eventful. I'm very excited to see what birds come back next year, following all our piping plover pages now because I want to stay in the loop. So I encourage everyone else to go follow piping plover pages on Instagram and Facebook because they are very cute.
Thank you, Tyler. It's me. DEC Rhinestone was environmental educator. That would be me. A little bit of background. My name is Natalie Alvarez. I am from Puerto Rico. My study background would be in biology with a minor in natural resources and a little bit of knowledge in marine science, especially marine biology. I used to work with sea turtles before I came here. So this program, I have gained a first-hand experience in a lot of different forests than what I'm used to. So basically the serious forest, and I learned to develop better communication skills and also interpretation skills here for a broader knowledge of invasive species as well. So most of the accomplishments through the SCA would be including first mental aid, Project Wild, yes, that would be with the DEC as well, wilderness first aid, and also CPR and AED as well. So Rhinestone Woods Nature Preserve, if anyone's been in Buffalo, I highly recommend to just take a walk outside. Those are some of my highlights of Rhinestone Woods in different locations, areas, and through different weather. So you can see, beautiful. And there I met some of the very best people that I could wish to work with. I shadowed, co-led, and developed educational programs alongside some of the best environmental educators that I know, if I do say so myself. And I appreciate the mentorship and the encouragement that they have shared with me along the way. So thank you very much, Mayor here, and all the others that couldn't make it. Some of my tasks were to take care of the ambassador turtles back at Rhinestone Woods. So I urge you to meet Mr. Rollite. He's a wood turtle. In the middle, you have Tara. She's a box turtle, lovely. And Clover. Clover is a painted turtle. Clover likes to bite. Yeah, but she's amazing. So every week, I would take care of them, feed them, clean them, and make sure that they're having an enriched day. Some of the work that I did as a steward would be Phragmites removal. We work with different teams. For example, the Phragmites strike team, which met twice a month for a period of about, I want to say, 8 different projects, yes. And also the MNT Think Green, that was another volunteer group that met with us twice. And we tackled different areas of the reserve and we removed Phragmites along different areas. Those are some of the pictures that you can see there. I do enjoy, if you see in the corner at the bottom, the little stick insect. There's always a chance and an opportunity where you can also find new things, amazing things, and you can share with the people that are volunteering with you. It's also an educational opportunity. We also did Phragmites with the Boy Scout Troop 554, and they helped out to clear one of the sites that was worked on before, but needed to be worked on again. So highly thankful of them. We did other stewardship projects like I Love My Parks Day, where another Boy Scout crew also came over and we helped to clean part of the little meander of the creek. And those would be the trash that was removed, mostly plastic, styrofoam, stuff like that. Third Thursday is another part of the Restored Project where we have a crew of volunteers and they come in every week for a duration of almost 7 months, almost, I want to say. And we did different projects, as you can see on the pictures. We took care of the turtle outside enclosure area, managed to protect the bloodroot by keeping out different invasives that were growing in the area and also fenced it in. And as you can see, some of the crew members that helped out, that would be Sam and Andy, their parents, level people, you get to know them, you get to go one-on-one with them. So that's also a very enriching opportunity. And also there was rockbit, which was a new aquatic invasive found by one of the staff members. We also took care of that, and Japanese barberry was a highly worked on project, the removal of Japanese barberry all across the preserve. Then as for educational material, I took over what was Wild Wednesday, and I did 4 sessions so far. And some of the things that we discussed was Discovering Clouds program, Sound of Spring program, and also to celebrate Amphibians Week. And it's a Bugs World. So this is different programs that I could get to kids over an afternoon, explain over in a really quick manner and a really fun manner, where they can get to meet science and be able to have that experience without it being too overcrowded, and especially outdoors. Other programs that I assisted on, as you can see, would be the one at the museum. We also work at a gem show, bringing programs about beavers, has a what they used to be before, how they are now, how they developed, and how they used to be, and the original engineered, also about what animals eat, what are the adaptations. We did that at Tiff Nature Preserve, and also different stored projects at a school where we built raised beds for the kiddos, and that was great. And as you can see at the very bottom, just going over with water, what are the leaks, what plastic does into it, and how we can avoid it, by also providing a reusable water bottle, and the kids were very engaged into that as well. And the very last one is a day in the life at Oakar Park High School, where Mary also coordinated it, and we went to different sites and everyone was able to explain different tests that they could do and see what the water quality in their area was and what different critters they could find, and kids love it. And thank you so much.
All right. Hello, everybody. I think my presentation got a little bit misplaced, but still have speech.
I apologize if I believe I may have done really into the presentation.
That's okay. I only spent a couple of hours working on Zach. Good afternoon to you, SCA members, physician supervisors, partners, family, and friends. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Juliana Lolomio. I have served the last 10 months at Allegheny State Park as their environmental education steward. I have a coworker and my supervisor here with me today. During my stay, my position held many different learning opportunities, from how to be thrown into interpretive teaching opportunities, and competently, I must say, going on night patrol to search for black bears. I will say that in 19 years on this planet and also 10 months at Allegheny, I have yet to see a single black bear. Starting with winter, January, February, and beginning of March, contain little snow, little activity in Allegheny. Being Allegheny's off-season, winter is a good time to prepare summer programs, organize storage spaces, and get a feel for the office environment. Once a week, we held snowshoe hikes that often turn into winter boot hikes due to our lack of the fluffy white stuff. Wintertime is the season in which the invasive species Hemlock woolly adelgid is most easily seen. I went out with the invasive species specialist on a few surveying adventures, and we trudged through half-frozen swampy groves in search of the tiny creatures. On the slideshow that Zach presented, where there's a picture of me and another person with our hair over our faces and glasses on our heads, that would be one of the invasive species technicians. One of my highlights of these winter months was utilizing Potter box traps to capture birds at the feeders and ban them under the supervision of Tom LeBlanc, who has a banding license and has been researching apiary habits for over 20 years. Birds are cool now. My second highlight of the winter season was heading up and across to the state to Tully, New York, where I got to participate in a Forces ice fishing event, and I caught 2 really cool fish. Transitioning into the spring months during the second half of March, April, May, and the first half of June, this is where things started to get busy. This gave me a fantastic opportunity to apply my public speaking skills and start memorizing programming that would be used for summer patrons. A big spring project for me was taking down an old poster in the Red House admin registration building and coming up with my own to replace it. I created a list of 20 things to do around Allegheny with fun little clip art cutouts accompanied with the 7 leave no trace principles. In April and May, we had a large amphibian migration where I had to play real life Frogger every time I got into my vehicle. I may have unsuccessfully avoided obstacles a few times. I was making a joke to quite a few of my friends that typically when people are on their way to work, they get caught up in road construction, as I was just dodging frogs every time. Near the end of spring, I helped 2 of my coworkers map out a trail, attended the SCA Wilderness First Aid training, and led even more school group programs. June hit, and so did the heat, bringing one of the hottest summers on record ever seen in New York. It was the end of the school group season, and summer programming had finally begun. Camp Allegheny, the area of the park where my office and cabin are located, hosts the Allegheny Nature Pilgrimage each year. For the first time, I led my own walks and talks off the clock, of course, Zach, don't worry. More bird banding occurred. New York State Pulse on the Parks got me out into campgrounds surveying patrons, which was a very unique opportunity. And I learned so many summer programs and even added a few of my own. Driving up to the Thousand Islands, I enjoyed a fun-filled week of trail work. Yes, trail work can be fun. And team building, time with friends, then headed over to Syracuse for the New York State Fair, where I tabled with SCA members for 2 days. Shortly after, I attended the New York State Invasive Species Expo at Saratoga Spa State Park, which basically looked like a really super fancy college campus, and I was like in love the entire time I was there. Learning how events were formed, such as bike rodeos, I Love My Park Day, Great Outdoors Day, and a beach party, I created an event for the annular eclipse that happened on October 14th. So just kind of a wrap up of my 10 months, I led over 24 different programs, educated over 3,000 people, which, fun fact, is more than the amount of people that live in the town I grew up in. Surveyed for Hemlock woolly adelgid, went on black bear and wildlife patrol, did patron surveying, completed trail work, created a publicly viewed poster and solar eclipse PowerPoint, made a coloring book, visited parks all over the state, went to the New York State Fair for the first time, and gained valuable experience that will help me for years to come. Just want to give a warm thank you to the SCA for all the hard work that goes into providing this opportunity, and for Allegheny for hosting me and also letting me work alongside their naturalists. So thank you very much. All right, next up on our list, I have the Finger Lakes Trail Stewards.
Hi, I'm Eli. This is Jeff.
And I'm Justin.
We are the Finger Lakes Regional Trail Stewards. Here's some of the lovely parks that we have worked at throughout the year. Similarly to how the Thousand Island Stewards just did it, we are doing it, our presentation season by season. So we'll start with winter. I came in January and started the season jumping into hazard felling ash trees at Keefe Lake and Chimney Bluff State Parks. Here's the our lovely culprit for all the ashes dying, the emerald ash borer. And we yeah, so we also worked, we also worked on these steps at Taganek Falls State Park in the winter. So that was a really cool construction project. And then in spring, we jumped into continuing on the work of these stone walls at Watkins Glen State Park. So these were originally CCC built walls. It was really great to be able to add my work to them and learn a bunch of masonry and skills while doing that. And then, so in the spring, we also started working at Harriet Hollister Spencer State Park on some like trail assessment type stuff. So this is something that we do at a bunch of different parks in the region. But we had some drama with the New York Equestrian Society. So we were there trying to see what kind of people were using the trails, like mountain bikes versus cross-country skiers and horses. And then we continued that this fall, trying to see if we could open those trails up to horses. Then in summer, we did this really cool stonework training with the Jolly Rovers Trails crew, where we got to build some steps at Taganek Falls, and did a bunch of volunteer events. So this was the I Love My Parks Day event. So we had a bunch of people from the community around Fillmore Glen come in and clear the gorge trails from the scalers. And then we had a Cornell group come and remove some brush on the gorge trail at Robert Treman. And I'm going to pass it on to Justin for the fall.
Hi, I'm Justin, and I actually did not start in, I guess, January. I started actually in July, towards the, I guess, midsummer. It's kind of when I got here, July 24th. I hopped in at Two River State Park, where we are, as you can see here, putting in two bridges as they were washed out previously. So it was really nice seeing what kind of goes into, geez, oh my gosh. What kind of goes into trail work? Because before this, I was like, oh, I thought they just kind of maintain themselves just by the virtue of people walking on them. And that's not the case. Nowhere near the case. So as we see here, I think on the top right, this photo here, Ela and I were actually in Fillmore Glen working on the bridge abutments there as those bridges were put in originally by the CCC, so they are pretty old and need some nice living care. So we were under them, kind of cleaning out like the debris, leaves, and moss, and then also clearing out the moss from the walls so that they wouldn't erode any more away from the stone that was already there. This is the last slide. Yeah, so I didn't really get to do all the cool stuff that they all did, the tree felling or the wilderness first aid. But I did enjoy my time at the state fair with Eli and everyone else doing the bird boxes and educating people on what they can do to help protect the eastern bluebird. And also, I think our biggest, you can't really see it out there just now, but actually right in front of Ganondagan, we are actually putting in a trail, which will be there hopefully the end of the season, maybe next year. I won't be here to see it maybe. But yeah, it's been really nice. This would be right up here in the front. So if you guys are here, hike it, please. But that's all I have, unfortunately. Because I was not really.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next up, we have the Finger Lakes Hemlock Steward.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Abby Welch. This season, I'm with the Finger Lakes Regional Hemlock Preservation Program Steward. So basically what my program entails is, if you all know the Eastern Hemlock, it's a very important tree that is actually the third most common in New York State. And what's so important about hemlocks is that they are considered a foundational species. So they basically make very unique ecosystems that are very essential for all different kinds of species of different unique plants and amphibians and all kinds of things. They are especially important when it comes to wetland areas. So like to grow in like bogs and swamps, and also along stream sides where they can shade the water and make it nice and cool for all of the animals that like to live there. Excuse me. So what I do, and what the program does is it's about going out and trying to help the hemlocks as they're currently facing an invasive species called the hemlock woolly adelgid, which is an insect that can kill the trees within like 10 to 12 years, and completely decimate these really important hemlock forests. So what we do is we have contractors go out and treat the trees using chemicals. You have imidacloprid and oh boy, I can't remember the other one. Dinotephrin, thank you. And yeah, there's also some biocontrols that we're trying to release, which are very helpful, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to become established more, so we won't have to keep on treating the trees, and we'll be able to keep the adelgid at bay. So where my position comes in is I do basically a lot of mapping and monitoring, and just kind of checking on the trees both before and after treatment. And so, you know, looking at stuff like how the trees are faring, what their canopy is looking like, whether they have a lot of adelgid infestation or if it's died down because of the treatments. I've also done a lot of, well, in the winter time, I did some HWA winter mortality surveys where we basically, it's new research that the Hemlock Initiative program out of Cornell is looking into, that during the winter, the cold weather hopefully will keep on killing the adelgids in large numbers. Yeah, so I did some of those surveys. I've also been doing some like stand health and diversity surveys to try to see where the hemlocks are most prevalent, and how we can better help them for stands that may be past the prime treatment time. So over the season, as far as I've looked at, I've actually monitored well over 500 acres so far, and also 13.6 miles of water buffer areas where the hemlocks were growing along streams. And so all this time was spent me having a nice little personal adventure every time, just going out and walking along, you know, like all the beautiful gorge parks, because that's where the hemlocks love to grow, is right on the cliffside. And just exploring the parks in the meantime, which has been amazing. I have also, hold on a second. I also helped with a few Hemlock education programs, with both Ithaca College students and, as some of you saw me, doing my presentation at Trainpalooza, which it's basically entailing going out and surveying and just helping other younger people learn about the importance of hemlocks and how we can help them. Another big part of my position has also been going out and meeting with the hemlock contractors, RES, where, yeah, it's basically, I've written up some work orders with collaboration with other park staff. And we just go out and explain to the contractors what's expected of them, tell them the DBH inches that we want them to treat, and in what areas, the areas of priority, all that kind of stuff, which is a very important part as well for that outreach aspect with the contractors. And then outside of the hemlock treatments, seeing how the treatments are focused mostly in spring and fall, that leaves the kind of colder winter months as well as the summer months for me to have worked on other projects. Some interesting ones that stood out, of course, were doing a few different native planting programs and helping with the plant materials program at Sonnenberg. Also helped, as you saw in the picture before, helped with the beaver deceiver installations, which was very fun getting down in the swamp. I also helped with a few invasive species polls throughout the year, which was great. And also different things like got to help the forces with the peregrine falcon monitoring, which was very cool. They're very cool birds. They actually had a little kerfuffle when they decided to fledge right by the trail. So we had to block off the trail and everything, which was fun. I also have spent a lot of time trying to spearhead the environmental field team newsletter. I did that early on in my, before the hemlock work started coming in, and have been working on it once again now. It will hopefully be released in the near future. So I've focused on a lot of the editing and design aspect there. And of course, one of my passion projects, I've also been doing weekly migrating bird surveys at Gigantic Falls. So I love being able to get out and just watch and listen to the birds, doing some point surveys every single week. And I've seen a really nice diversity of birds. Yeah. So that's most of what my program entails. Thank you very much.
All right. Last but certainly not least, we have the Finger Lakes Environmental Education student.
All right, hi everyone. So our season is kind of split into our off season in the kind of colder months, and then we have our tour season in the summer. So a lot of the work that we do is teaching people about the natural history and plants and animals of certain gorge parks in the Finger Lakes. And then in our off season, we get to work with Carlin quite a lot, which is great, in forces and doing other cool things, such as a highlight for me was the Maple Fest at Letchworth Park. I don't know if anybody's been up there for that, but it's pretty cool. They've got a really good setup there, and that was interesting for me. If you can't tell, I'm not from around here, so it was cool seeing all the maple production and getting to learn more about that. And yeah, I'm gonna pass it off to Meg.
Hi guys, I'm Maggie. So I don't think I expected
this position to be like as rewarding as it was. Obviously I expected to have like a great time and learn a lot. But I think I didn't fully appreciate how powerful parks can be until I was a park employee. I think in the outdoor lover space, we kind of prioritize this idea of it's like wilderness, and a lot of times I prefer to be out in state forests where I'm on maybe a more secluded trail, so I wouldn't gravitate to parks as much because they just felt more used by people, and I didn't appreciate that as much. But I think that that's one of the strengths of New York State parks, is that they're so accessible to people. And weirdly, I think that the people that I have interacted with, it's not weird, but the people that I've interacted with this season were the highlight. We work and do roving and interpretation at some of the most visited state parks in the state. I think Watkins Glen gets like 2 million visitors a year. I don't know if that statistic is accurate. But we have the opportunity to reach so many different people. I've had conversations with people from Belgium, India, Kansas, everywhere that you could think of, basically. And it has really given me a lot of hope for where we are going as a planet, as a society. I think that it's so easy to get really pessimistic, especially in the position that we're in. And it's kind of hard to see sometimes, or at least it was for me, the connection between parks and helping the climate, solving the climate crisis. But I think that talking with people, it's really easy to see that most of us have the same goals. Everybody's different, but most people want what's best for everybody else, and having the opportunity to make people feel more connected to the land that they're standing on, and have this reverence for like a gorge that took 12,000 years to form. And for it to form, there needed to be ancient animals walking around and then turn to methane and be released. And all of that had to happen just exactly right for us to stand somewhere and appreciate it. I think having a deeper appreciation for nature is one of the keys to solving our climate crisis. So to be able to do that and reach thousands of people this summer and the rest of the season was a really awesome honor. So thanks to everybody else who helped make that happen.
Hi, I'm Alyssa, and like everyone else, I'm so thankful to be here. And I really was also not expecting this job. I just 2 weeks after graduating, I applied, and then I was here. And I think one of the first things I asked was to Elijah. We were at the Overlook, and I was like, "What is that bird?" And it was a turkey vulture. And I was like, "How do you even know it's so far away?" And it's because of the shape of the wings and how it's soaring using the thermal vents in the gorge. And like fast forward to the summer, we were doing gorge tours and doing roving interpretation. And I was able to explain what this bird is, and everyone was like, "Oh, what is that bird? Is that a black hawk?" It's a turkey vulture. I learned that this year. And they get so inspired by that I just learned it and I'm teaching them about it. And I'd hope that if they bring their families or friends to the park, or they see a turkey vulture, they'll be able to explain the bird to them, why they're so important, and even extending that to the gorge itself, because a lot of the times when I was roving there and they were asking me about the birds, they would see the pamphlet in my hand, which has all the gorge visuals, and they'd be like, "What's that?" And then I ended up giving like a whole gorge tour at the end of the trail, all in like 15 minutes of talking to somebody. So yeah, I'm really thankful for being able to connect with people on a broad scale, and for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
So as many of us have talked about already today, one of the things that I thought was best about this position is just the sheer amount of stuff that we got to do. Our position is environmental educators, but really we got to do conservation work, outreach work, education, of course, and then even some of our own learning. So several of the projects that we got to do were with Carlin, going out and doing a lot of conservation heavy work, removing invasives, surveying for raptors, installing the beaver deceivers, stuff like that, really directly impacting the environment, which I thought was really important for me. And then a little bit about me is last year I got down to South Carolina and worked as a summer camp counselor, and that's what started this whole environmental education journey for me. And so then translating into tour season and being able to talk to and educate so many people in the gorges was astonishing for me. Just the sheer amount of knowledge that I got to tell them, and even sometimes I got to learn from them, was a high point for me. And then some of the last stuff is, of course, the just general outreach, the amount of people that we get to talk to, the amount of not just nature, park related things that we get to learn, but also the general facts about New York, learning about the cities and towns that we're in and that we work in. Was a real joy for me, because I am a nature nerd for sure, but I do also just like being able to talk to people about anything. So just the sheer amount of stuff that we got to get our hands into and experience was definitely one of the highlights of this job. Do you have anything else?
Yeah.
All right, I'll pass it back to you.
I actually just wanted to add, because I know we've been talking a lot about our experiences and what events we've been doing on through our 10 months, but I wanted to actually mention I know Josh isn't here today, he couldn't get up, but Elijah and Carlin are here today. And all of these experiences and events that we've been doing for the last 10 months would have been an entirely different experience without the great supervision and just energy that we have been able to be around and learn off you guys, all of the amazing things that you do. And so just thank you to these two for being here, and Josh, who's not here today as well, but thank you to the three supervisors, and especially for Zach, who's put all of this together for everybody. Yeah, this would have been totally different without all you guys. So thank you, everybody involved.
Okay, thank you for everybody's hard work this season, for sharing your positions with us. I'm gonna welcome Zach back and finish off our presentation.
All right, everyone. So it's looking like we have about 20 minutes left until we were supposed to be ending this presentation. And I have about a half-hour long video to show you all. So I do want to get to the words from our supervisor section, which is inherently coming up next, but I am going to skip through our special guest section and show it while we were at lunch, if that's okay with everyone here. So next, we are going to hear from our supervisors. And again, we don't have too much time here today. But I would love to pass this microphone around the room and have anyone who wants to speak on behalf of their members or member. I ask that you keep it under a minute, just because we don't have too much time and there are a lot of supervisors in this room right now. Would anyone like to go first? Would anyone like to say anything on behalf of their members? Zach. And Zach, whenever you're done, just feel free to ask.
What I'm gonna get it out of the way this year, because last year I feel like I made a fool of myself. I'm gonna take 20 minutes, so you don't want much. Eli and Justin undersold what they did this year. You know, Justin hasn't been here for the full 10 months, but he's been here for over 3. Eli has been here since January. Both have put in a tremendous amount of work. Trail work is difficult. It is physically taxing. They work outside in all weather, lifting very heavy things. they've done a lot of work that a lot of people do not do and don't have an interest in doing. So thank you both for putting in the time, putting in the effort. One other note, this is going to echo a little bit what Kelly said. I am coming up on 20-ish years now of working alongside the SCA. You folks are kind of on the front edge of people who are in this industry, in conservation service, working for public agencies. The connections you are getting now will last you for a long time. People always ask how I got into my position. It is through the SCA. You will travel around the country. You will go through different agencies, different jobs. And I guarantee you, you will likely meet somebody who has been in one of these programs. So thank you all for the service you provided to New York State. And I hope that it's something you enjoyed. We all here in the state parks have enjoyed having you. So give yourselves a round.
I want to say to the Trails crew too, I loved your roundtable video. I've been laughing at those jokes for days. So FYI. I was Abby's supervisor, Abby Welch's supervisor this year, and what a pleasure it was. Abby is such a well-rounded human as well as worker. She is extremely professional, and we were really able to hand her a lot of tasks that I don't think many people could have handled with her without her level of professionalism. She worked with contractors, very quickly worked with contractors and other program aspects without supervision. It was incredible, and we're even handing over running some really major meetings for our team to her before she leaves. So it was a pleasure, Abby. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Rutherford. I was Paige's supervisor at Sonnenberg at the plant materials program. And I just wanted to thank Paige for all the hard work she did. She really formed an emotional attachment with the plants, cared for them like they were her own. And we're going to miss him, not as much as the crows at Sonnenberg will. Paige put in a lot of time befriending and feeding the crows. So she's got a nice little murder on her back. But I'd also like to thank all the SCA staff and supervisors who really helped us out with a bunch of our projects this year. Many hands make light work, and you made a lot of light work for me. So thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here today. I have a few bullet points I really don't want to miss, but I will make it short. First and foremost, I wanted to thank Jack, Anna, and Nina for sticking through the whole year with us. I know that we have sort of the most remote region out of the whole Parks Corps, and it is a challenge in and of itself to come hang out with us on the Canadian border. Just to recap, I think underselling it is a really good way to put it. Just like Zach said, our region does a lot of everything. I've heard the phrase jack of all trades. This year it was quite literal. We had a jack, but we had 3 jacks honorably. We have parks in 5 counties in New York, and our team this year has worked in about 20 of those parks, sometimes driving 200 miles to get there, staying on site, and doing really good work, trails, invasive species, a little bit of education, and everything else. So thank you for everything that you have done. I cannot say enough. We could not do any of it without you. And then I also wanted to say thank you to all of y'all who made it to the Thousand Islands for our event this year. I think it went off swimmingly, and I'm really glad to hear that everyone enjoyed their time. It really meant a lot that it was optional to stay overnight the last night, and I think everybody decided to stay. So that was really like a heartwarming moment for me. And the folks over at Rock Island Lighthouse were so appreciative of the trees that we planted. And the trail on Morgan Island is holding strong. It looks great. So thank you again for all of that. And then one more thank you to everybody who was able to also make it up to Keewaydin in June when we were getting ready for our Trails Day ribbon cutting event. That was another situation where we had some pretty substantial construction work on our trails that needed to be done, and we could not have done it without as many hints as we had. One of the days we had some returning SCA members from the past, as well as current SCA members from all over the state join us. And we had 11 people on deck from the SCA. It was just an amazing turnout. I cannot thank you enough for all of that. So the last thing I will say is we have a saying in the North Country called river rats. If you've never heard that before, it's sort of like a state of mind, and there's something special to be said about when you are sitting on the shoreline or in a boat and the sun catches the water just right. And if any of you recognize that feeling, maybe while you were sitting and relaxing at Rock Island, or putting in the work at Crane Point, or helping us build the kiosks at Keewaydin, I do just want to give you all that title, and I hope that you take that with you. We're all honorable river rats now, and thank you again. I really appreciated having everybody here, for sure.
I'll be really brief, but I just want to say a couple words about our 4 SCA educators this year. Just an outstanding crew, all of you. Such unique personalities and what you were able to bring to the table to the patrons that you talked to this year. It was just amazing to watch. Y'all grow so well in your positions and as people in your personal lives as well. We had so many fun days, so I could be up here just all day talking about all the fun times we had this summer, but you guys made them as fun as they were. And I think the community we were able to create with the horses stewards, with the SCA, with our state environmental staff, we all learned from each other. So that was, I think, the biggest joy with working with you all this year. And it wasn't just the SCA educators. I have to shout out all of our Finger Lakes crew, Abby, Paige, Kelly by extension in the Forces program, and then our Trails crew. It was just a blessing working with you all this year, and we look forward to watching you thrive in whatever is next. So thank you.
Juliana. We also know Juliana as Jolie, so that's who we would call her. She had all her names, but we are super thrilled to have her. She was one of the youngest SCAs that we ever had. She was also very talented as an artist, and so she was able to draw some rides for cartoons for the kids to color at Midway, which we've been asking for years to get it from the Midway managers. So that is something that we're always going to have. So there's one of the cool things about SCAs, a lot of the things that our SCAs do, we have them at our parks for years and years. So it's things like that. This coloring book is going to be something that we're always going to be able to use. So she did a lot of fun things. Everything that SCA had to offer, Julie's like, I'm gone, I'm gone, I'm gone. So that was awesome. We appreciate everything that she did for us. She makes us laugh all the time. She made a lot of food, and she also ate a lot of food. But we definitely appreciate all her creativity that she had. And like I said, she made us laugh often. So thank you very much. And thank you, SCA, for giving her the opportunity, because this was actually her first job, and big job, long job. So we think we gave her a ton of skills. So she should be all set to go. Right? College next.
Can you imagine growing up in Puerto Rico and then coming to Buffalo and actually staying and not leaving for 11 months? I think that's a win in itself for Natalie, but she was an amazing educator. But I think one important thing is because she was here for so long, she's been a real mentor and an example of professionalism and how to interact with the public and how to treat volunteers for our new interns coming in. So I really want to thank you for that.
And also this is gonna be, you know, we always learn from our SAE members, but we have like scheduled sessions where Natalie's gonna teach me how to take care of the turtles. So this is gonna be a really true learning experience where I get to learn from our SAE members. But I just also wish you, Natalie, the best of luck, and to all of the SAE members. Hopefully we keep you in New York. We'd love to, but it seems like we have a great crew. So keep your eyes open for positions. There's one open at Rhinestone right now, just saying.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hi, my name is Gabriela Paduska. I'm the director of the Mid-Anthony Common Nature Center. And I just want to take a moment to say that all of the work that you all have been doing is just so inspiring. I think SCA is the epitome of young people doing good for the planet. So I think you should all just feel very, very proud of the work that you're doing, and all the best in your future. So I have cue cards, Seth, just like we said we would, right? So I had the privilege and the pleasure of supervising and hosting Seth Blair over there in his snazzy vest over there. So Seth can be described as positive, upbeat, professional, courteous, above and beyond helpful, and always wanting to put his best foot forward. Being our only SCA member this year, Seth became the jack of all trades environmental education steward. Not only did Seth tend to 8 native plant gardens, but also stepped up to help with digital media, animal care, even restoring our 36-foot Voyager canoe, among many, many, many other things. As an environmental educator and programmer, Seth is dynamic and high-spirited. Seth came on board with a background and wealth of information about hunting, fishing, and traditional skills like maple sugaring. He created several innovative public programs within this heritage interpretation genre, and opened up interest in these regional and folk traditions in a way the Nature Center has never done before. Seth's expertise in fishing lent himself to successful fishing clinics, and his energy invigorated the Spider Ryback Memorial Fishing Derby. Program titles included Fur Bearer Fun, Sugaring During the Thaw, Novice Bird Watching at Morgan Island, which we all worked to restore, thank you, and Waterfowl Decoy Interpretation all stand out as highlights. I am especially proud of the research done on our decoy collection and Seth's creation of a pop-up exhibit and interpretive talk for the Sackett's Harbor Quilt Show. So on behalf of Wellesley Island State Park and Nature Center staff, a big thank you, Seth, and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Hi, gang. Let me get my cue cards. Okay, so I had this pleasure of supervising Kelly for 2 years, and it was fabulous. Everyone knows how fabulous and wonderful Kelly is, and talented, and enthusiastic and energetic. It was a lot of fun to work with you. And you know, you mentioned some of the things you've accomplished. Most notably, I'm so psyched about the Roots Network, the Forces Roots Network, as well as the all the great social media stuff that you've done, along with Carlin too. I have to give you credit for that. But Kelly, really, you amped up our Forces Instagram accounts. That was really great, really creative ways to do that. And one thing that I wanted to say, I did the AmeriCorps 25 years ago up in Maine, and I met so many great people. And I think the theme today was connections and your networking system that you have here. And I'm still in touch with a lot of those people 25 years ago. I mean, it was great. And so my supervisor's up in the Adirondacks, and we're still in touch, and we see each other occasionally. So you guys will have these memories and these connections for the rest of your life. All right, thank you all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Katie Mulverhill, the Central Region Environmental Educator. I have the pleasure to supervise SCA members as well. Unfortunately, Alden couldn't be here now. He did a 5-month position with us, and I don't think we would have survived the summer without his help. So really happy that he was able to join us. But the other way I get to interact with more of the Corps is through the Certified Interpretive Guide training. And it's nice because I get to meet people early on in your time with us. And then I get to come here and I get to hear of all of the things that you've done. I get to hear how your public speaking has progressed and get to picture you putting the things that we talked about. Many of you saying, I don't really know what it is I'm going to be doing, or how can I possibly put together a program like this, and then get to see that you've done it and you've excelled at it and hopefully enjoyed it and provided so much to us. So thank you all, and it's really great to see you again.
Speaking on behalf of Alden was a fantastic steward. He was a 5-month travel education steward with Katie. He would have had to have given up being in college today to have come. I said, you can't do that, I'm sorry. So if you're watching right now, Alden, thank you so much for everything.
Hello, so Tyler, can't really see your headings, just like a blower. I think Tyler should give more credit to himself for really the work that we do at Sandion Beach State Park. It is a starting up project for this federally and state endangered species, the piping plover. A lot of our work is actually dealing with people more than the bird itself, and it takes a lot of strength mentally and a lot of courage and strength to actually deal with the people that visit the beach and can impact the plovers every single day. And watching a bird every single day is also very difficult to do. And you really do gain connection with just a little shorebird. And unfortunately, we did lose our 2 nests. And I think between Tyler and myself, watching those birds every day, it was very impacting to lose those nests. But I think Tyler had a great attitude and really boosted the morale of the team for us to keep going and protect the only nest we had in New York State for the Great Lakes population. So thank you, Tyler. And I think Tyler really set the standard for the steward position for our project because he brought in so many more ideas for our project to be even better than it was in the previous seasons with his experience in New Hampshire with the trail crew and just his enthusiasm to be outside and really implement new ways to make our beach better for patrons and even for the birds through the restoration work that we did. So thank you, Tyler. And thank you to everyone else for giving us ideas to do when the birds leave. So the project becomes very slow when the birds migrate. So thank you all for inviting us to attend your events. And I'm sorry that our beach is so remote that you guys can't come see the birds. But hopefully in the future we can figure out a way to so you guys can see them if they come back next year. Hopefully they do. But thank you, Tyler, and good luck out west.
Else want to go? Don't let anyone else. If not, I think we. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for speaking on behalf of your members. It was truly a joy to listen to you advocate, talk about highlights, and talk about where your members are going and how they've impacted your sites. Again, thank you all so much. I did have a message to show you from Liz Putnam. I actually sat down with Liz Putnam, the founder of the SCA, a couple days ago and had her record a message for you.
Hello. Hello, everybody. I am so glad to have this opportunity to talk with you at this incredibly exciting time. And congratulations to all of you for this program and the important work that you have been doing. And I think from the Hudson Valley Corps and the New York State Parks Corps, that is what a team for all of you. And for all of you to give of yourself to help and do and to protect and care for this earth, which is having its challenges, as is our country. And the only way we're going to be able to face it is by teamwork. And it's teamwork. That is what makes things possible. And I'm also thrilled to think that you're at Vassar, or the headquarters are at Vassar. And I think that that is where the idea for this whole idea came from. And to think that now, since 1957, there now apparently are over 100,000 of you who have participated in this program, wanting to give of yourself, to do something, to be of yourself, to do something for this country and the earth. And the only way you can do it is through teamwork. And it's extraordinary. You have those talents, that person has these talents. All this other work has to be done in between. But the most important thing is to get beyond thinking of the me. That I'm something. Cool. It's everybody. It's everything. But it's the earth. And without the earth, none of us are anything. And so that's where you guys come in. Because you guys are in here with your heart. And what's stronger than a heart? That's the part that can unite us all. And I think again of you all coming from so many different parts of this country, and also from Scotland. And you're joining other SCAers, alums, since 1957. There have now been over 100,000 of you from all 50 states, from all walks of life, from more than, I believe it's now 40 foreign countries that have been involved with SCA, with that feeling of giving of self. What can I do to help? And it all started at Vassar in a senior thesis. What could be simpler? And the idea for the thesis came at Vassar. One night, I think when I was a junior, and I remember I was working the paper or something or other, and it was late at night, and I was in the stacks or something or other, and I was tired, and I knew it was almost going to be like at 11 o'clock, which was then curfew night to get out of the library. And I sort of reached back to get a stretch, and my hand sort of hit into a stack, I guess it was, and there were some books, and I just happened to slip my fingers at what it was. And there was a magazine, and I took it from me, and I happened to open it up. And it was an article written by Bernard DeRoda in Harper's Magazine. And the article read, "Our parks have been loved to death." Well, that intrigued me. And it was talking about them in the well, after the article started off with "Our parks are being loved to death." And it was about after the World War II. And when everybody was getting out from whatever it was they were doing, all getting together with families, everything was wonderful. Let's go out to our parks. Why not? There are parks, so there we can all go out and we can have a ball. Isn't that great? And we did. And at that point, the parks were there, but the staff was incredibly small, obviously, minimized because of the war. They had few park rangers, and that just trying to protect this land. And the article went on to read that the rangers were living in tar paper shacks, little tar paper shacks. We're talking about in the winter, Wyoming, places like that. And with their families, they had leaky tar paper shacks. They weren't doing any interpretive work. There was time. They were too busy cleaning latrines and picking up garbage. That was what they were doing. And that just struck me at 11 o'clock at night or whatever time it was. I thought, boy, that's ridiculous. Number one, that's horrible. And then they were then having to take care of the thousands and thousands of people that were suddenly coming out of go have a good time and romp through whatever they wanted to romp through and to see what they wanted to see. Of course they did. But what were they to do? Leave more litter behind and leave more whatever it was in the rest houses because souls thought people were trying to clean up. And it was Bernard DeVoto who wrote this article. If you ever have a chance to read it or find it, it's a powerhouse. And I think it empowered me so that I felt, oh, I mean, heavens, I've learned from a child, if something needs to be done, but and if you can do it, go ahead and do it. Fix it up. Do something. Pitch in and help. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. Do it yourself. Get out there. Or do it with a team. And that's even more fun. That's great. That's what we did as a family. That's what we did during the war when things needed to be done. You just pitched in, no matter what age you were there. There were things that had to be done, and there were plenty that had to be done around the home or around the area or anything like that. And so I thought, I didn't mind going out to see some. I didn't know that much about parks in those days, and I thought, well, heavens, I didn't mind going out as a girl. I mean, there's been a brownie, and I've been in Girl Scout. I can go do something, and maybe why couldn't I pitch in and help? And then it turned out that I was very lucky. When I was supposed to then be able to I was meant to be thinking about what I was going to do for my senior thesis in my science. And it just kept hitting me. God, there's something that needs to be done. Why can't we all do something about it? Why can't there be something like a conservation corps or some sort of, I don't mind going out to some national park and helping some poor park ranger pick up litter. I mean, heavens, if that would be a thought, why can't I do that? And why can't we as park visitors learn, let's not just leave our stuff all over the place, let's kind of help ourselves. But that comes with education or learning, getting your eyes open to what needs to be done. Because it doesn't get done otherwise. And so it so happened at that time, I was incredibly lucky. And I had as my senior advisor a man called Dr. A. Scott Worthen, who was head of the geology department. And when I was coming to Vassar, he was also happened to be my senior advisor. And I didn't know that much about geology, but I loved the outdoors and so on and so forth. Well, to make a long story short, it turned out he became my senior advisor. And when I was asked what did I want to major in, and I was told at that time that, you know, you could look at any kind of thing you want to in your major. And I thought, because this article and what had happened at the library had hit me so hard that I thought, God, why can't there be some sort of a conservation corps or young people with student conservation corps of some sort? Why can't there be something like that where we can all pitch in and help? And while helping, you'll learn. And we're a student no matter what age we're at. My family, we've always said, no matter how old you are, you're always learning. You're still a student. So, I mean, I'm still a student and I'm 90 years old. So I'm still a student. And here we are talking about Vassar, which is where all this concept came from. And it was because of that I was able to suddenly became a major with 3 departments: plant science, zoo, and geology. That was thanks again to Scott Worthen that made this possible. And it was because of all that I was able to write this thesis. And it was because of all of that that different things began to happen. And I'll share with you a funny story. And it had again to do with Vassar, in a sense, that my cousins, without going through all the details of it, my cousin, when they heard that I was writing this thesis, and they apparently, my cousin, my late distant cousin anyway, called to say, oh, because she heard about my thesis. And she said, oh, there's a friend of mine down here who would love to talk with me about my thesis. She went to Vassar, I think, also, but would love to talk with you about it. I said, oh, a lovely elderly lady. And so I'm sharing this story because not only because that's where your main places, I gather, where you all are going in all these different directions, but because how strange things can happen in your life. And you have no idea at the time what happens. Because number one, that strange thing, that's why I visit Vassar and what was happening. Number two, because of what happened in Darien, Connecticut, when my cousin said, oh, this lovely lady, Mrs. Bertha McPherson, who's a friend of hers, would like to talk with you. And about the thesis, he was interested. And oh, that's nice. Yep, talk with her about the thesis. I then graduated, so whatever. And so, well, I guess I was still at college. And so I went and I talked with her. She was fascinated. And the next thing I knew, at the end of our conversation, and then she said, oh, and she called me later, or something like whoever, whatever it happened. I was then, because of her, invited to meet with somebody in New York City. It happened to be a man called Horace Albright, who's out. Well, it turns out he had been tied in with this gal's father, who I didn't know who that was. So anyway, he was with the Park Series. When I shared with him the concept, and at the end of this whole conversation, and he said, what are you doing this summer? You ought to go visit the national parks and talk to the superintendents. And I thought, oh, sure. I could just see myself. I said to myself, me, a girl, going out to talk to a superintendent. Aren't you lucky? I have a thesis I'd like to share with you. Somehow I didn't quite see how that was going to matter, but you know, I thought the conversation could go on. Without going through the details of it all, it turned out that yes, he had been very much involved with the Park Service. This man happened to have been worked with McPherson, who was the founder of Mather, Stephen Mather, the founder of the National Park Service. And so all of a sudden, without going through all the details of it, which is remarkable how things happen, another gal of Vassar joined me and we visited parks, and turned out 4 parks, Olympic and Grand Teton wanted the program in 1957. All that's happened, everything is fantastic, and all successful, so forth, high school, college, graduates. Why? How did this happen? It happened because of a dog. That's what happens. How did a dog get into this one? And it turned out that so I thought, how did my cousin get to know Bertha McPherson, whose father happened to have been Stephen Mather, whom I had no idea about, the founder of the National Park Service. No friends of the family, he didn't know anybody of this. And yet all this happened, and it all happened because of a dog. How did a dog get into this? A dog happened because Mr. and Mrs. McPherson, she, the daughter of Stephen Mather, had some children. They got a dog. Everybody was happy. The children grew up. They left to get married. The dog got lonely. The dog wanted to go wandering. The dog wandered. And where did the dog eventually wander to? To a family right down the street someplace. And then wandering down the street someplace, happened to come upon a family with 4 little children who always wanted a dog and never could have one. And the dog and the children prayed. They called the who owned the dog and called him, oh, bring the dog back when you're through. And they brought the dog back. Well, days later, down came the dog. Well, this continued. Eventually, the dog went to live with my cousins. Where did the dog come from? From Mr. and Mrs. McPherson. And that was the lady who I met because she became a friend of my cousin, because it was her children that took on the dog, and the dog took on those children. And that's where this friendship developed there. And that's where SCA came from, and those went to the dogs. And thank heavens for it, is all that I can say. Because you never know in life what is going to affect who and what and where. And so, and this is the story of SCA. And to think that because of a dog, there is a program that is now doing this work Apparently, it's the forerunner for all other youth corps. It's the forerunner of all kinds of wonderful things. It's been incredible. And at a time when I was also told, and my teammate Marty Talbot, my teammate was Vassar, who joined me the first 2 years, we were talking together, blah, blah, blah. And but where an idea came from, and it came from a dog that made it possible. It came from chance. It came from going to Vassar. It came from just stumbling in and being lucky to have Scott Wortham as my chief, my advisor, whatever. And who, why, what? And in a time when girls were, as I was told, can you imagine anything funnier than a woman in a park waving her hat? That was one comment that was made of many. And another one of well, heaven's sakes, girls wouldn't and shouldn't be allowed to do this kind of work. And so, which is why no high school girls were allowed to start out. They did get high school age boys to begin with. And what do you know? We had another program of all girls 2 years later, and what do you know? Girls can do it. Amazing what girls can do. So there again comes the word of teamwork. And it's the teamwork. That is what is life itself. It's all I'm trying to bring out in this thinking that I'm sharing at this point. And it's what you're doing in your life. And what you, wherever you're all from, whatever part of the world you're from, we live on one earth. And right now, our earth is hurting. And it's hurting badly. And why is it hurting? It's us. It's how we are treating. It's how we are treating each other. And this is the part that is horrible. We're treating each other like scum. We're so great ourselves, whatever that is. And until we start working with each other, no matter where we are from, just like you guys are doing, you're putting your heart and soul in this. I'm an SCA alum, believe it or not. In 1989, I was, after Yellowstone fires took place, when I was here working on the farm, and my daughter had gone off, but she graduated from college, and so she was gone, so I was working there. And some of my SCA friends came and we were talking about things, and about the awful fires in Yellowstone. And, oh, it was so exciting. And we just, SCA just set up an SCA, an extra work was needed by the Park Service to get in there to help after the fires. And it's so cold. Anyway, and and it was for anybody and everybody all over. The work was desperately needed by the service to clean up the horror that had taken place in Yellowstone back in 1989. And so when Scott Isover was then president of SCA came, we were talking about things, talking about this, and I said, I mean, this program is open to everybody. He said, yeah, it's absolutely open to everybody. I mean, obviously, one needs to get a physical to make sure one's healthy and all this kind of stuff, go through the regular thing. But it's a special core that's being set up to be able to help get the work done, clean up the forests, get whatever has to be done. And I said, you say it's for all ages? And he said, absolutely, it's all for all ages. And I said, my age? Well, I wasn't 90 years old then, but this is back in 1989, so a few years ago. You can do the math faster than I can. And and they said, whenever you need it. And I said, so anybody can apply, and you have to fill out a physical and see if you'll be accepted or not. And they said, sure. And I said, you mean I could apply? And he said, sure you can. And I said, I mean, I could apply and nobody would know that I was doing this. And it's just me. And I could apply, see if my physical will take it, put in my application and see what happens, see if I'm accepted, but not because of whatever it is I'm doing with whatever, but because I'm a body that is willing to be of help and is healthy enough to be of help and not a hindrance. Is that what you're looking for? And he said, yeah, absolutely. And I said, well, if that is the case, and you find out to make absolutely certain, and that it can go through this way, and that I'm just girl X at whatever age wanting to apply, and then plot me in if I am accepted to do whatever it is I can do to be of help. Fine. I was allowed to apply. I applied as long as no one knew what happened, and I was accepted. I'll never forget going to the mailbox at the end of our driveway, and there was this letter from SCA saying, congratulations, you've just been accepted to become a member of the Student Conservation Program of the association, working in Yellowstone, the Yellowstone the Yellowstone Recovery Corps, the Yellowstone, SCA's Yellowstone Recovery Corps. And I said, oh, no. And I came skipping up the driveway, and then I came to a screeching halt. I thought, good God, what am I doing? What are they accepting? And then I thought, no, SCA, I trust it, I believe in it. And if they feel that I can do it, if they think you can do it, you can do it, and any of you out here in the audience can do it, they feel that we are healthy enough to be able to handle this, I'm ready to go. And so I did. And I went out to Yellowstone, and I said also to SCA itself, I said, that nobody knows who I am, that I'm even involved with SCA, but that I just happen to be a gal interested in doing some help. And that was absolutely proven. And so I did. I went out and I worked. And I was just plain old Liz Titus at the time. I was just plain old Liz Titus and doing this work out there in the Corps. And I'll tell you, in a sense, I know being like you, a member of SCA, not because of anything else I've done, but because of that. And the feeling of teamwork is absolutely awesome. And I'll never forget the group that we had. And what a mixed bag of wonderful people. The taxi driver who heard about Yellowstone in trouble, and he just dropped his taxi and said, I'm going to volunteer. I'm going out to Wyoming. I'm going out to help Yellowstone. And he was on our way. We had two gals that were Japanese gals. One was trying to become a lawyer. I hadn't done any outdoor wilderness work, but by God, she was a hard worker. We had the mixed bag. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. One person, because they were all ages, and he came up to me and he said, oh, I know who you are. I said, what do you mean you know who I am? He said, well, you came and spoke to our group, you're head of SC. I said, shut up, and we'll have a wonderful time. But we're just keeping ourselves just amongst ourselves. And so we did. And not another word came out of that. And he was absolutely great. He was an SCA alum. And we've had a great time. But it's the feeling of accomplishments. It's the feeling of teamwork. And that's what you guys are doing. From wherever you come from, wherever you go, remember that. In your local communities, wherever you happen to be, help is needed today more than ever. No matter what age we are, that doesn't make any difference. It's not as, where is your heart? Where is your spirit? Where do you care? Do you care? Are you wanting to do something? What do you do? You're an SCA. You're an SCA till I'm 90 years old. You're an SCA till death us do part. And it knows how we treat your life, how we treat each other, how we treat our four-legged buddies, two-legged, 97-legged, whatever they all happen to be, whoever they are. They all need a chance at life also. And it needs the feeling of teamwork. What can we do to help? Whatever it is. Don't look for the self-aggrandizement or anything like that. That's not teamwork. That's just me work. But if you look for teamwork, it's how can we all share our thoughts, our love, our spirit, the strength, whatever it is we happen to have. At different levels of your life, you have different strengths, different abilities, and whatever. And there are going to be times in your lives, there probably have been already, but there'll be times in your lives when you're challenged. And you think, what am I doing? Why? Ugh. And then take a deep breath, stop, and think again, and realize, I'm on this earth, and I'm privileged to be here. What can I do? What can I do to help, to be part of this? Because that is where the strength is, and that's where the strength is of our communities, our schools and our communities, and our lives itself, our families, but then the larger communities itself. And then it comes to our country. And then it comes to the horrors that's taking place around the world. And what's happening around the world is horrible in many places, getting worse in certain areas than ever. But damn it, we're part of this team. And it means, what can I do to help protect, preserve this incredible earth, none of our brilliance, but because of whatever we wish to believe, how this earth was formed and why, and by whom, and how can we help protect and preserve what the good Lord has given us for the future, because it's the future is what counts, and it's the future I'm thinking about for you, your future, what you are going to do in your lives. Already you are doing good stuff. You're already giving of yourself. And that's what we all have to do, is to give of ourselves. Because when you give of yourself, there are others giving of themselves too. And that's when you have your team. And that's when the great things come out. And that's when that song of, we gotta accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. And I think that kind of a song is something that can give strength to all of us, because that's where we need to go for the future. Again, I thank you all for what you are doing, for your giving of yourselves, for your families that have helped you be whoever you are, and for you who are doing what you have, where you are today. And from wherever you go in the future, keep in your heart your work with SCA, a feeling of teamwork, a feeling of, look what we are accomplishing. And wherever you go, there are going to be things that are going to be needed. What can we accomplish? What can we do? And that's when great things come. And so, thank you again today. I am so thrilled to be here with you, and to realize that the homing part for you all is back at Vassar, where thanks to a puppy dog, and thanks to the wonderful Professor Scott Morgan, who had faith in his students, and to all those that I've had the privilege to know in my lifetime. And I wish you the bestest thing in the bon voyage. And to you back to Scotland, go for it. A great country. And we have a great world. That's where we are together. Thank you again. And keep up your good work and your spirit, and loads of love. And I hope our paths will be able to cross in the future, the near future. Take care. Bye-bye.
Which brings us to the certificate ceremony. Libby, can I have you come up here, if that's okay, and move through the slides? Sound good? Cool, thank you. You are all good, thank you so much. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for, the certificate ceremony. Woo! As I call your name, I ask that you come on up. I'll shake your hand, and then head back to your seats for right now. We'll come up at the end and take a group picture. Okay? All right. First, we have the Thousand Islands region. I'm gonna do this alphabetically, so Anna. It's a long walk. Thank you so much. All right, and next we have Jack. And Nina.
Yeah.
And rounding off Thousand Islands region. Wow, Sam. And we're gonna head down to the central region with Kelly. And next we have Tyler. Heading up to the Niagara region. Oh, we have Alden. Alden again too. And next we have Natalie. And heading off to Allegheny, we have Juliana. Please, this brings us to the Finger Lakes region, and starting off with Abby. Next, we have Alyssa. Thank you so much. We have Joanne. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And next we have Liz. And next we have Justin. All right, next we have Maggie.
Oh.
All right, next we have Penny. So now leave me have and next slide. All right, give it up.